Hello and welcome back to the Squirrelhead YouTube channel, and welcome to Matchday 8 for Liverpool. It is a Premier League preview, thank God, after the international break and the absolute diabolical performances of England. I put myself through them for about 60 minutes each, and I wish I hadn't, but we are back with the Premier League, we're back with Liverpool, and we are coming up against Manchester United in one of the biggest games early on in our season, and we're at home, we are in good form. Let's get into the preview. So, when it comes to a Liverpool and Manchester United game, it pretty much doesn't matter at all about form. Yes, I've got the form of what we've been doing so far. So, we've got 5 wins in the last 5 matches, both Premier League matches and Cup matches as well. The draw against Tottenham. Man United have started to turn around a little bit. They had a bit of a stumble against Stoke, getting a 1-1 draw. But that's still... the form table for both these teams when they come up against each other really does go fucking out the window, and that is going to be my main focus here today. It's going to be obviously about our team, and we've obviously got a couple of injuries to deal with as well, but we're going to be looking at a couple of options that I've put up on a couple of websites here, so we'll have a look at those as well. But it's just such a big game because this could really be a driving point for both teams moving forward. For us, it could be a great one because in the league, over recent years, we haven't had the best performances against Manchester United. They've had some pretty good ones against us. It'd be nice to obviously turn out a very good positive result. If we can get anything like any of the previous results, or even if it only ends up like a 1-0, a 2-1, I'll take that any day as long as we get the win. That's what I'm looking for. Manchester United, on the other hand, are going to be looking to sort of stabilise their Premier League season and not stumble as much as they have been in some games. Yes, they got a very positive win against Leicester, and the way they played in that game, where they were pressing and pushing a lot more in that game, they had a lot of success with it. They beat Leicester and it was pretty dominant. Yes, they got a lot of set pieces and stuff like that, but that doesn't really matter because they were scoring the goals that they needed. They were playing quite well. That's what they need to go back to, not how they were playing against Stoke, where it was a bit laboured, it was a bit lacklustre in some parts as well. They need to go back to that pressing game that they had. Whether they can execute that against Liverpool, who seem to, like our team, who seem to have gotten that pressing game down to a T, and when it works, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, when it works, it is absolutely beautiful to watch. I absolutely love it. I'm thinking that we can do that. We've had some good performances from international players of ours. Most notably probably would be Firmino and Coutinho for Brazil. They've had very good ones there, and they'll hopefully keep that form going for Liverpool as well. So what I've tried to do is I've tried to come up with what I think, if we were going to stay as a 4-3-3, what we would come up with. And I've basically gone for, I think Karius will be staying in goal. I think, yes, he did have a bit of a shaky time against Swansea, but I think we've got to give him a little bit more time, bit more consistency to be able to bed in. There was someone that had done an article saying that he's had a bit of a similar start to David De Gea when he started at Man United. Didn't always perform. People were questioning about him being in that team so young, and obviously looking a bit, he wasn't the biggest goalkeeper, didn't have the very most presence in the box, didn't seem to be able to deal with things as well. Moved forward a couple of years and he's become possibly the second best goalkeeper, if not sometimes the first best goalkeeper in the world. Look at that confidence that breeds, and I think we need to do the same thing here. I think Karius, if we go back to going to Mignolet, if anything happens in that game, we've got a lot of excuses that would end up coming out. Oh, well, we should have started Karius and things like that. I think we stick with Karius, give him some good times, get him in a big game like this, and I think he'll do quite well. Milner, Lovren, Matip, Klein, I think that back four will pretty much choose itself every single time. As long as all these guys are fit, I think that's going to be it. I don't really need to explain a lot about that. Obviously in midfield, we've had Wijnaldum and Lallana injured. I'm not entirely sure whether they're going to be fit to play or not, but if they're not, I've come up with sort of a Henderson, bringing Chan in and Firmino. The 3 isn't going to necessarily sit like that with 2 sitting deep and 1 being a bit more forward. It could be 1 dropping deep and 2 up. But that's sort of what I would think if I was going to go for that. I was toying between having Firmino in the midfield and Coutinho, but I think Coutinho's been doing really well out wide, and I think that's where I would stick him as well. So I've got Coutinho out on the left, I've got Mane out on the right. Again, I think that selects themselves as well. Up front is where it depends. It depends on the faith that he's got in certain players. Sturridge did all right in the first game, internationals. He's done okay with Liverpool. I would still prefer to see Firmino up front if we can do it, and I'll come on to some other options later that I've seen online. You've also got Divock Origi as an option, you've also got Danny Ings as an option, but they haven't been playing in the first team lately, or they haven't been getting many minutes. I know that Danny Ings has been with the under-23s and doing quite well there as well, but this is a different ball game. You're going to want to go with your reliability, and I do think that at the end of the day, I think Firmino will be going up front, and I think maybe the system will change a little bit, which I'll highlight next. Now, one of the options that we've got is we can go back to a 4-2-3-1, and you've obviously got the same back five, Emre Can and Henderson. Then you've got Coutinho, Mane, and then you've got Lallana. Now, this is if Lallana is back from injury. If he's not, then there's another option as well. But obviously, it's covering for the fact that Gini Wijnaldum is probably most likely going to be injured. I think his is a bit more severe than Lallana's at this moment. Then you've got Firmino up front, which is what I like. Coutinho, Mane, Lallana, if he's there, and then Firmino up front. I like that a lot. And I think that would be, if Lallana's fit and he's good to go, that is what I would go for. I think you're going to have, obviously, Henderson, who's in pretty good form, take away his last England performance. Emre Can, who's been biting to get back in that team. He struggled, obviously, to displace Wijnaldum. Hasn't been able to do it. This is his opportunity now. With Wijnaldum injured, he's got to make an impact in this game if he gets the chance to come in. And then that front four as well. I think that would be pretty positive. But if Lallana is also injured, we've got the next option. Now, the next option is pretty similar. Again, same back five, Emre Can and Henderson, but you change it a little bit by having Firmino, Coutinho and Mane in that three in the attacking midfield areas, and then Sturridge up front as well, which again, there's some quite good options that we've got. We've been lucky with our back five that there haven't been any injuries. I don't know how many of them have been out on international duty, but obviously Milner hasn't been, and Nathaniel Klein hasn't been either. I think that this would be a very good one to go with. If Sturridge up there, up front on his own, with the good support and the delivery of the types of a Firmino, Coutinho and Mane, could cause some havoc, absolute havoc. Yes, I would prefer it if we could have it as a 4-3-3, but that most likely isn't going to happen just because of the injuries we've had with Lallana and Wijnaldum. They really would make it easier to play as a 4-3-3, and I think that this one right here is the most viable option, because I'm just toying with the idea. I like to think for the worst, like prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and I think that in my mind I'm thinking Lallana's going to be injured and Wijnaldum's going to be out as well. Most likely this is what we're going to have to go for, and I think that is a strong as hell lineup, and with options that we would obviously have on the bench, people like Origi and such like that as well, to come on later on, have a bit of an impact, get themselves around on the pitch, causing havoc. I think, and the way that we play as well, the way that we'll be playing with the pressing, everything like that, the pressure that we'll put on Manchester United and their back four, their midfield as well, I think it's going to be an interesting game. It's all really going to be down to which team turns up for both teams, essentially. If we turn up like we did against Chelsea, against Leicester, against Hull, if we turn up like that, I think we've got a positive result on our hands massively. Same thing for Man United. If they turn up like they did against Stoke, they're probably not going to have a very good result at all. If they turn up like they did against Leicester, and we turn up like we did against Leicester and Hull and such like that, it's going to be a hell of a game to watch, and it could be very back and forth. But there are a lot of variables. We've got a good midfield battle between our team and their team as well. You've got Henderson, who, one of the key points there will be Henderson's coming in good form. Pogba's obviously scored a blinding goal for France in the internationals as well, so maybe he's going to pick up some form as well. I'm hoping not, obviously. I don't want him banging 35-yarders in past us. But we've got to prepare for the fact that some of their players are going to be hitting some form, are going to be wanting to be playing well and do well in this fixture. Nobody in this team, like our team and the Man United team, are going to want to lose this game. They shouldn't want to be losing this game, and not that they would. They're going to hopefully be playing their arses off like this is some sort of final or anything like that. It is a very important game, obviously for both fan bases and obviously for both teams. How do I see this match going down? I see it in this formation with these players, and if we're playing how we did before the international break and how we came out, yes, against Swansea we didn't have the best performance, but we fought back. We've shown that we can fight back, not just put pressure on and blast goals in for fun. We can fight back from a losing position and come back and win the game. I think that we will get a positive result out of here. Make no mistake, I'm not just saying that Man United aren't going to perform or they're not going to do well or they're not going to do anything against us. I do think I can see goals for both teams, but I think that we will score more goals. I think that's just how creative we are at the moment and how clinical that we've been so far in the Premier League. I think that we are just going to be, I think we're going to be able to overrun that midfield a little bit. I think that we have a bit more of a settled midfield than Man United do right now. They're still having to switch and change some players to see who can partner each other better. And I think that's where we can play to advantage. We know, yes, we've lost Wijnaldum, we've possibly lost Lallana, but he may come fit. That's always an option there. But we know where our players are going to be, how they're going to play, the systems that they play, everything like that. I think that we're a bit more solid in that department, and I think that this could be won or lost in the midfield. And I do think, as good as the likes of Pogba and that are, I just don't think they're as set as our midfield is and our team as a whole and the way that we play. I think we work better as a team at the moment. I think we've shown that throughout the Premier League so far. Take away the Burnley result, even then we bossed possession and stuff like that, but that doesn't matter. I don't care about that. I think that we've shown that we play better as a team, we function better as a team, we scramble for the balls, we put pressure on in all different areas of the pitch. We don't necessarily have the name players and stuff like that Man United have, likes of Ibrahimovic, likes of Pogba, Rooney, etc. and stuff like that. And I know Rooney's obviously waning in his powers at the moment, but he's still a name player that sometimes, more often than not, seems to turn up in a Liverpool Man United game. So I think that Liverpool are going to win this game. I can see it being something like a 2-1 victory or a 3-1 if we're performing really well. But I do think that Liverpool are going to come away with the victory. It's going to put us in good stead, give us more of a boost that we've had throughout the Premier League. We've performed really well so far. We don't want to lose that momentum, and I don't think we will. I think we're going to come out with the victory. I think it's going to be an entertaining match, and I can't wait for it. I just absolutely cannot wait for it, and I imagine you guys can't wait for it either. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What is your prediction? What is your predicted starting lineup for this as well? Obviously with the injuries, how are we going to set up? You let me know down in the comments below if you please. And if you've liked the video, please drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will catch you later. Thanks very much for watching.